Hi, and welcome to the Path to Profit podcast. I'm Brad Dobson with my wife, Dr. Minette Riordan, and we're happy to have Stormy Rose with us today. Welcome, Stormy.
Thank you. It's wonderful to be here.
Good stuff.
So I'm going to share the quote because we always share a quote before we start. And I always go through everybody's questions and their bios and trying to find a quote that I think is going to lead us on a conversation. So I thought this was a really cool one. It says, "In the depth of winter, I finally learned that within me there lay an invincible summer," by Albert Camus.
You pulled in the whole weather thing, didn't you?
No, we're not going to talk about the weather today.
Her name is Stormy.
I bet it was subconscious, but it's a perfect match. I love that quote.
Awesome. So I'm going to share a little bit more about Stormy, and we're going to dive right into our conversation today. We're super excited. And Stormy and I always love to share how we connect with people. We're part of a coaching community called Thrive Academy that we both love and are big fans of, but we've never gotten to meet in person. So this is cool to get to meet some of those connections online in a really different way. So Stormy Rose is the owner and lead coach of New Heights, a business that uses Gallup resources to ensure that individuals and businesses discover and reach new summits of life and business through discovery, understanding, and application. I think that's going to be important, of their unique personal talents. With a Bachelor of Science in Education, a Master of Arts in Education, Stormy has spent over 20 years bringing her significant talents of achiever, input, positivity, maximizer, and learner — you're going to learn more about these in a few minutes —
I want
to educating, supporting, and inspiring others. Gallup Certified Strengths Coaching is the most recent addition to her toolbox. And I can't wait to hear more about how you use these tools with your clients, how they've transformed your own life, because my sense is that strengths may be exactly what our listeners need to get to the next level of business success or life success as well. So again, welcome. I'm super excited about this conversation.
Thank you very much.
So we'd love to just hear, to start, a little about your business. What's new and exciting in 2017? What are you working on? Anything you feel called to share?
Oh, probably the connections I'm making and the large groups I'm working with, and even like the local Chamber of Commerce here, and I've reached out to lots of different local businesses. I have lots of connections to work with people in all ways, this way virtually being one and using Zoom, but it's also nice to have real tangible clients that are face-to-face and be able to see them in person.
Yes.
You can travel for that as well. So
lots of fun connections. Awesome. And are you in the Bay Area? Is that where?
I am not. I'm in Arizona.
Oh, in Arizona. Cool.
I'm Chandler, Arizona, near Phoenix.
Okay.
But travel to the Bay Area often. So I'm traveling a lot.
Yes, that first year or so in Thrive Academy, you will travel a lot. Yes, I love it. So tell us a little bit about your focus as a business coach. And do you call yourself a business coach, a life coach? You do a little bit of both.
Right.
So
I do individual coaching and business coaching both. My focus is when I'm working with individuals or teams or businesses to go from good to phenomenal.
Nice.
And I personally experience and have ways that can happen no matter what the challenges are, no matter what the roadblocks are. When you focus on your strengths, it really makes a difference and lets you soar.
So I love that. So I'm curious how you got...
So wait.
Oh, sorry.
You're a strength coach? Is that what you're saying?
I'm a certified strengths coach. It's Gallup developed the strengths assessment. And I had become a coach, a business coach, and one of my trainings was StrengthsFinder 2.0. And it was out of all, I did this, StrengthsFinder, Myers-Briggs, some other made by a gentleman in Scottsdale here, and the one that had the biggest impact, and Minette shared earlier of all the systems she's taken, how powerful it is, StrengthsFinder is the one that made the most difference for people. So as soon as I found out that Gallup was offering certification for strengths coaches, I got a ticket to Washington, D.C. as soon as I could.
So is this the same Gallup that does Gallup polls and that?
Exactly. And what's really interesting is Donald Clifton, who founded Strengths, actually started with his own business, and part of why he became my hero and changed my life is the major question he asked, which is, what would happen instead of focusing on what's wrong with people, we focus on what's right with people. And he started his own business doing that, looking at people's strengths and talents. He was so successful, got so big, he actually bought Gallup.
Wow.
So Gallup still does worldwide polls and everything else, but then he went in and used that resource to interview and to work with millions of people in all different cultures all around the world and all different professions to develop StrengthsFinder. And that's part of why it's such a powerful, impactful. It's made with lots of research and was developed a lot before it was put out.
So this is fascinating. I guess I've tangentially heard of StrengthsFinder, or maybe you mentioned it, but Manette's kind of an assessment junkie.
Well, 16 million people around the world have taken it now. So I'm not surprised if you've heard of it.
I just love the concept of focusing on strengths as opposed to weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing that if you're like us, you have a lot of people that arrive at your doorstep focused on their weaknesses. I know I certainly do it. I guess we all do.
Right.
But, so I get the assessment part, and I get pushing or focusing on the strengths. Do we do that and ignore our weaknesses, or do we? How do we think about our weaknesses
That's a really
in this
good
context?
question. And what some people even shy away from StrengthsFinder for is that reason, because we've been culturally trained to fix our weaknesses, make them better. And what makes StrengthsFinder powerful is when it's used and applied. So not just taking the assessment, but actually using it. And when you use it, you have to not ignore your weaknesses. You put your energy and focus on your talents, and you use what you're good at and what's natural, what you get the most results from and return of investment to work around your weaknesses and address them instead of trying to focus on your weaknesses. One of my favorite activities that we did in training and that I use a lot in my workshops to help people experience that and even make sense of it, understand it, is a writing competition where they have to write, they get ready to write a list of things repeated over and over. Their goal is to write as many as they can, as neat as they can, and they only get 30 seconds. So they all get ready to write it. And then right before I say go, I have them stop and switch the pen to their non-dominant hand. Then we do the competition. And that gives a really vivid experience of what it's like to work with your weaknesses. We naturally do our handwriting with our dominant hand. We just naturally use. It wasn't always that way. People used to be punished for using the left hand instead of the right hand, and that's kind of how weaknesses are. We often sometimes are punished, looked down upon for not using our weaknesses and focusing on them. So the idea is don't ignore the weakness, but don't put all your energy there. Use your strength. Put your energy somewhere else. If the world would be changed if everyone was using their talents, focused on them. Can you imagine how much happier you would be if everyone was doing that?
That's fantastic.
I love that. Such a great perspective. And what a beautiful way to overcome perfectionism, except maybe for the maximizers, right? So I'll just share the one of the most impactful pieces of learning what my strengths were about the learner and input piece, and how those were actually, because they're at my leading edge, I was spending so much time in learner and input mode. I wasn't in action mode, right? That I kept feeling like I had to have this constant, steady stream of information flowing in. And it was never enough for me to then feel like I could take inspired action. So I actually had to learn how to flip those a little bit, understand how they were my strengths, but not rely so heavily on them that it kept me stuck. Right. So it was really beautiful.
Perfect that you had that insight. That was one of my favorite insights of the training in DC that I had. Is StrengthsFinder is a bit misnamed because it doesn't actually find your strengths. It finds your talents. What are you naturally, instinctually good at? And Gallup was able to identify, after the interviews with millions of people all over the world, was able to identify 34 talent themes or areas of talent. Things like communication is not one specific talent, but a kind of clustering of multiple talents. The 34 talent themes, and what the assessment does is find your top 5, your most dominant ones that you use naturally, instinctually. Now, a talent, as you recognized, your input can be, that's what's most easily your strengths. But a talent can also be a prohibitor or a weakness. So you have to make sure you're using it at the balcony level so it's a strength instead of the basement level.
Oh, I love that. Great analogy.
That's my job as a coach, is to help people not only identify their talents, but then keep them all at the balcony level so that they're strengths.
So is this assessment something that is online, or is it something that you're certified to give as a coach, or is it just anybody can take it?
Online, and I'm certified to help people use it and apply it, because that's when it really makes a difference. That's when it changes your life. And anyone could take it anytime. They can get online and take it. They can go to Barnes & Noble and buy StrengthsFinder 2.0.
Oh, okay.
Remember that one?
And in the book, there's a code that you get on, you put in that code. Every book has one code only, and you use that to take the assessment.
So I have to say, I've always thought that was an incredibly brilliant marketing strategy for the assessment and to sell the book as well, right? Because it gets the information into the hands of people. And I remember, so we lived in Texas for a long time, and there was an amazing, they may have them in Arizona too, but there was a Half Price Books. It was the name of the store.
Yes, we do. Yes.
Yeah, I love Half Price
Books.
Books.
Grew up in one. We were there all the time.
Yes, exactly. Love Half Price Books. I wish we had one here. But you would see all the StrengthsFinder books in there with all the codes gone, right? So it's like you would still get all the information and the access to the descriptions of all the different talents, but not the code. So don't buy it at a used bookstore. But,
well, you can, unless you get it really inexpensively, because you can get online on the website and take the assessment without the book. You can buy the code to take it. And then you get an ebook of the book.
Nice.
For free ebooks. If you want a paper book, though, you can either buy the book with the assessment, or you can go to a used bookstore and buy one and then have a paper copy of it.
Is that, so we can share it in our show notes? Would that be like StrengthsFinder.com or Gallup.com or?
StrengthsFinder.
Yes. So it's StrengthsFinder.com is the book. And Gallup has a couple different websites. They have, let me pull up really quickly, and I should have had that available.
Oh, no, that's okay. We can go look at it.
I'll give it to you to give it to you, because I want to be precise and make sure I said exactly right. I know one of them is GallupStrengthsCenter.com.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have that in the show notes.
Thank you.
For all those folks like me who haven't taken it and don't understand.
He actually did take it. He just doesn't remember.
I also offer, as part of my people come to me for coaching, I will and get a package. I'll mail them a book, so they don't have to worry about finding or getting it, and mail it to them.
Nice.
So you're able to so you base your coaching around this assessment, and you're able to then work with people and synthesize the assessment into what they're telling you verbally to come up with a plan of action for their business or themselves.
Because what really matters the most isn't just thoughts and ideas. As Manette discovered, because her input is so high, there's lots of that. You also need action. I love, this wasn't even planned in my conversation. It's just naturally happening that the 34 talents are grouped into 4 domains. And there's executing, there's influencing, there's strategic, and there's influencing. I think I said 4 different ones. What's nice is one person doesn't need all 4. One of the things we've been taught a lot that's incorrect and proven wrong is focus on your weaknesses. Yeah. Another one is be balanced, do it all, have a little bit of every side. And Gallup has proven over and over malarkey. Throw that out the window.
I love that word.
Miserable. So that's the goal. Is a team should have all 4 domains to work well. You need all 4 of those shown, and that's why I work with teams and businesses a lot to focus on everyone's individual talents. But one person will have 1 or 2 domains that they prioritize the most, that they are most dominant in. They're natural.
So I'd love to hear a story about one of your clients or even a friend that you gave the assessment to and really saw some of those light bulbs go on. So we know it happened for you and me. So I'd love to hear another success story.
Right. So I would love to tell you, and I will love to share mine before we leave.
Sure.
Huge.
Well, share yours first then. That's awesome.
Oh, okay. I have another one too. I have lots of them. Mine, I discovered StrengthsFinder in the most unusual way, and it really changed my life. It didn't just make it a little better or help make business better. It literally changed my life because in April of 2002, I was T-boned. by another vehicle that was going over 50 miles an hour.
Oh.
I broke my neck. I was in a coma. My daughter was in the car with me. She thought I was dead.
Wow.
That's after 2 weeks in the hospital intensive care in the coma, I awoke. When I woke, I had TBI, or traumatic brain injury. So life was changed. Activities as small as menial as brushing my teeth had to be learned all over again. I literally was thrown to the ground from the bottom up, living again. Luckily, prior to that, I had several years as a successful teacher. So I then turned all of those talents and strategies on myself. And I started working every day. And because I'm a maximizer and achiever, even though I didn't have it officially labeled that yet, I worked hard every day, in and out for years. After 7 years, I had surpassed every recovery projection that would be made. I was able to live independently on my own, being a single mom, raising my daughter, and living a fairly normal life. But life was really challenging and somewhat tedious. It wasn't as fulfilling as it could be. Then I discovered StrengthsFinder. And suddenly Gallup had me not focusing on what I was weak at, what was wrong, but focusing on using my talents. And that's the goal, I think, is not just to discover them or list them, but to use them and use new talents. That's what changed my life. I started making progress by leaps and bounds instead of that inch by inch that I had done for so long. And I'm living a full, happy, successful life, not just barely getting by.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Nice. So I'm curious what some of your biggest insights were when you had names to put to your talents. Like, when was it this kind of like, curious?
Oh, it was kind of, it was amazing. And what's amazing is I used the talents on my own for several years, then became a trained coach, then found out about the training. When I went for the training, I had even more insights and amazements and jumps.
Yeah.
So that's why StrengthsFinder 2.0 is one of my favorite books. I have read it probably 10 times because each time is a little better, a little more. Probably that's the realization of why my brain injury, even though I was making progress, stayed so frustrating and depressing and irritating, was things like my achiever is my number one talent. And your talent is only what you're good at. It's your perspectives are affected by them. What you need is affected by them. So I need to get things done, to complete to-do lists. And my achiever was really, really hammered by the traumatic brain injury. As I started to recover.
Oh.
My daughter would Post-it covered with Post-its of different to-do things that would come up. I've now progressed lots of ways since then, but that gave me a real aha of why I was doing what I did. And how.
Yeah, that's so cool. I love that. And I clearly you didn't go back to teaching.
Correct. That's my brain at first was so it couldn't multitask 30 second graders at the same time. Or I couldn't teach a college class again. At that time, I couldn't. Yeah. I could now.
Yeah.
And so probably, you know what, though? I'm still a teacher. I've decided what I do now, though, is I just teach adults now. I'm with adults, helping people find their best and use their best. The same thing, the same skill, just a little different tweak.
I love that. What a just empowering and inspiring story, told beautifully. So I love that. How old is your daughter now?
My daughter now is almost 21. In June, she'll turn 21.
Wow.
And she's her third year in college in Boston.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Well, it's so fun to watch her blossoming.
Yeah. We have our oldest one going off to college in the fall. So it's
exciting.
Such an exciting time in life. And it's funny because I think about assessments like the StrengthsFinder, or I have a core temperament assessment I use with my clients. And, you know, it's fun to look at your kids and see them grow into their talents, right? So you can kind of guess.
You know, it's interesting. My daughter actually was taking genius coaching here in Scottsdale.
Cool.
StrengthsFinder. That's how I initially discovered it. even before my coaching training.
Nice.
And so finding her assessments, then I took it. And we've always had a good relationship, but what happens when you know each other's strengths and talents and needs and perspectives in such detail, in such accurate detail, it's amazing what happens and how that improves relationships.
Yeah, I've seen this I worked in corporate for a long time, and the inability so I worked in software, and a lot of the folks, I'll generalize, they're, pretty introverted, nerdy, low social skill type of people,
I just worked with an IT organization in a huge company, so I can nod and agree and understand.
Yeah, right. Super creative, but mostly just want to put their headphones on and put their head down and work.
Right.
And when it comes to interactions like these, they're already at a deficit because they just don't have a lot of the skills. And then when you add to that lack of knowledge of what their strengths are and what the other people on the team's strengths are, or perhaps the manager doesn't know those or hasn't done his own assessment. It's just a recipe for failure. So
you're right. That's Gallup found that companies where a difference was made was where people could name their top 5 talents, where they just knew them and were aware of them. But where the most difference was made, where the greatest impact was where you can not only name your own, but 5 other people you work with, you can name their top 5.
Oh, wow.
Aware of and know each other's talents is what makes the difference. So you're right. It's exact.
Wow. I think we need to get our kids to take the assessment.
Yeah, right. Maybe our clients too.
Yeah, that's so cool. So I'm curious, as you go into and continue to thrive and grow in your company, New Heights, why are you doing this? What's the impact that you want to have with the work that you're doing?
I think after my experience with StrengthsFinder and how impactful it was to my life and how it changed, it's going to sound big, but I want to help change the world. I've already touched over 1,000, so it's just starting. And I don't want my change to be affected by anything or limited by anything, including location. So that's why I'm working virtually and even in person with people all over the world, in all different countries and all over the United States.
Nice. That's so
fantastic.
Cool. I love that. And, it's funny because I was talking to a couple of my clients on a call yesterday, and one of them was saying she didn't know what her vision is and she wasn't connected to that. And the truth was she knew what her vision was, but it's scary because it is so big or it feels so intangible. And I think what you said today reminds me that we have to remember the power of the ripple effect. And those 1,000 that you've touched that now know their talents will go out and touch other people in their lives.
Right.
And it just creates this opportunity to go global in a really beautiful way. And that just by teaching one person their strengths and helping them to really maximize the potential of their talents, you can change the world. And so sometimes I think when we think, oh, world peace or global change or fix the environment feels so big, that we have to remember the beautiful impact that we get to make just by changing one life at a time. So I love how you're doing that with strengths. And I know that people are really curious how they can take the assessment, how they can get connected with you. So what would be the next steps for our listeners to take?
Well, I would tell you, I know as we talk about things that people might want to know more, have questions, or know about their own strengths. So I purposely have created and put on my website an application that people can fill out.
Awesome.
For an absolutely free, no cost strategizing strengths session with me. So they can look at what are their strengths, they have ask questions, they can get an hour to know me more one-on-one for absolutely no financial cost. So the website is newheightswithstormy.com.
I love that.
And they can find the free application on there.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
And we'll put everything in the show notes so that it's really easy for people to find and connect with. But again, that domain name was New Heights with an S with Stormy.com. And I'm sure there's probably a really fun name, a story around your name as well.
Oh, that's funny. Wow, I hadn't even thought about that. That's one of my favorite activities and side things that I do is rock climbing.
Climbing.
Why? Because you get to see the world from a different perspective, amazing things, and go to new heights and see things you normally wouldn't otherwise. And so as I was developing my business and thinking of my vision and what I wanted for people, that's it. That's to help them not only discover their strengths, but to think big, to see and reach new heights.
Yeah, beautiful. I love that.
Tell me you do that on belay and you're not doing free climbing.
Of course. That's
Thank you.
I'm intelligent. Free climb all the time. It's not are you going to die? It's when are you going to die?
Yeah, you've had enough.
Yeah, you've had enough
trauma for everybody.
Right.
Yes.
That's awesome. Stormy, thank you so much for your time today, for your flexibility as we figured out details. And mostly from me personally, I'll let Brad say his own things, but thank you for your passion for this, right? As soon as I knew that you did StrengthsFinder, I knew I wanted to have you on the show because I do think it's one of the best assessments on the marketplace. It looks at an aspect of ourselves that no other assessment looks at. So thank you for the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was lovely to talk to you today and see your smiling face.
Thank you. Now I'll tell you, it's only 11. I have until 11:30 on my schedule. Is that correct? Or are we ending?
So we're ending at 11. It's about 30 minutes. We always leave a nice buffer in there.
Gotcha. I had an hour in my calendar just in case. I would love to share. Can I share at least one more example before we close off?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because especially, you were talking about IT people. My most recent big business that I worked with was Best Western International.
That's hilarious. We're going to a Best Western tonight.
Because Best Western International every year does an assessment with their employees. They do an engagement assessment to test for employee engagement with all their organizations. And for 3 years in a row, the IT organization was the lowest scoring of engagement. And so the new boss that got put in charge of IT was trying to make a difference, and he found me, and I went in. And after just a few months of strength seminars, of working with their managers, of helping create a strengths culture, their new results started coming in from that year's engagement assessment. Phenomenal results. Where IT was the lowest for 3 years in a row, they're now one of the highest.
Wow.
It's just by that.
And when you say engagement, can you help our audience understand what that means? Like they're assessing their employees for their level of satisfaction.
Of satisfaction, of wanting to be there, of actually working and being there, not just having to go to work and putting the hours, but making a difference and being involved. And businesses all over, that is one of the major impacts of StrengthsFinder. One of the biggest impacts on business or change is employee engagement. It affects productivity, it affects production, or I said the same thing twice. It affects production, it affects your turnover rate is greatly improved. People stay there. That's one of the biggest expenses businesses have. And profits go up.
Yeah.
It's because the company's showing that they care.
Yeah.
At a level of detail that says, hey, I recognize you have these strengths.
Yes.
And, without that, I've been that guy. I didn't want to take those or the engagement survey. I'd be the last to fill it out.
What's amazing is now their offices, they have the small sign outside the offices just have their name. It has their name and their top 5 talents.
Oh, that's so cool.
They go around, they all have each other's. And someone shared with me when I was in session with him, because I met with the managers once a month, he said they've done lots of assessments and different things, and it changes some, but this one was really changing the environment, really having impact like nothing else has.
Nice. I love that. So I'd love to hear a story about an individual whose life you changed as well, because most of our listeners are solopreneurs, entrepreneurs,
right?
And they're not at the level of employees yet. And I loved that example. I thought it was brilliant. But how about a fun one of, even if it was someone inside that company where it really impacted someone personally?
There's lots. Like I said, I've worked with over 1,000 people, so I have lots and lots of individual ones. Let me tell you one about, it's a local woman here who is a realtor. So even though she works for someone who works on her own lot and finds who she wants to work for as a realtor. And she came to me with her 2-year professional goals, but she was really unsure of herself, didn't see her talents or appreciate them. And she was going to BNI meetings, which is Business Networking International. A lot of solo entrepreneurs do.
Yeah.
She had visited me as a guest, lots of them, but wasn't even sure she could join. And she started working with me. We started having individual sessions focused on her talents, her strengths, and how to apply them and use them and what to do. And in less than a year, she'd met her 2-year goals. She not only joined BNI, she actually is president of a successful new chapter of BNI.
That's awesome.
So she has really soared. And
that's awesome.
Much more.
Yeah, so that's a beautiful example of how something that might sound simple or sound very surface is actually very deep. So for anybody that's listening, I highly encourage you to go have a conversation with Stormy, discover your strengths, figure out how to apply them in your life and in your business. It truly is a transformational experience.
And focus on your strengths.
And focus on your strengths, not on your weaknesses. Yeah, that was a big one. Brad also got excited, I think, about the strengths coach because he's an Iron Man, right? And he's like, strength?
It was a joke. Fun stuff.
Bodybuilding, so like I can relate to that a lot.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today. We very much appreciate you. Love the story. People can go to newheightswithstormy.com to apply to have a conversation with Stormy to learn more. So thank you.
So I'm going to let you close. The application, you'll have to actually make a little bit of time input. There's some questions and reflection, but it's twofold. I want them to make an investment that they really want to make the difference. And then when I get that information, that gives me so much more so that when we have our time together, I can prepare beforehand specifically that their time is customized and more impactful.
Yeah, beautiful. Wonderful. I love that. Well, I'm Dr. Minette Riordan. This is Brad Dobson. We are the Path to Profit Academy. You can learn more about us and what we're up to in the world at the Path to Profit Academy.com. And we're pretty excited. We're getting ready to roll out a new brand, new logo, all new colors. So lots of cool stuff coming.
It's exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. It's a lot of work behind the scenes and it's really fun. And we have a favor to ask. So if you are enjoying these interviews and hearing from amazing entrepreneurs like Stormy, please head on over to iTunes and leave us some love. So that comment love makes a difference. Or you can always just shoot us an email to clientcare@pathtoprofitacademy.com and tell us if you've got a great guest for us or you want to be a great guest. We'd love to hear from you. So have a great rest of your day, everybody. And Stormy, again, many, many thanks.
Bye, guys.
I look forward to meeting you face to face in a couple months.
Yeah, me too.